Windrose, once known as Crosswind, is a pirate-themed open-world survival RPG game where you explore a low-fantasy archipelago near the Caribbean with the goal of hunting down one of the most popular pirates of all time, Blackbeard. Now, this is not a full review because the game is not out just yet. This is simply a first impressions of the free demo that was released a few days ago as of this video. So I'm not going to go into full detail, just give my quick thoughts on it. Now, the demo itself includes 3 islands, a few main quests, half of a side quest, the building system, crafting at least up into the copper tier, you can level up to level 5, explore the talent systems, and get the first ship and explore the ship combat. This game seems to have elements of various other survival games, while also having its own identity. The first thing you will notice is that your character is separate from your worlds, allowing you to change worlds with any character. The world is handmade, it is not procedural. Now, I did have a bit of whiplash from the intro cutscenes, being that this is a demo, it could be changed, of course, but you have different types of cutscenes, from the intro of simple black screen with white words to a comic strip style that conveys the quest that you embark on, and introducing a bit of that low fantasy that I mentioned before with a strange artifact. The tutorial was a bit strange. While I think it can be short and sweet, I found myself a little confused half the time on what was happening. It wasn't super clear on conveying how to play the game, but once you are out of the intro and you are on your first island, you now have room to breathe and explore the game as you wish. You will have step-by-step quests on basic crafting, exploring, and it will end once you get your first piece of gear. That part of the intro I found fine. It was just the first initial set piece on the boat that I felt was more go 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 without a clear enough instruction. Now, your survival is along the lines of Valheim rules, where eating is not mandatory, but it will give you health and various buffs from the different quality level of food. But unlike Valheim, you can actually increase your default HP from gear and skill points that let you spec into your pirate and make you stronger at different elements. You also have talent points which focus more on combat with the 4 different trees for heavy attackers, light attackers, ranged, and survivability. The building is easy and user-friendly. You have a building mode which allows you to place basic survival items anywhere you like respawn tents, cooking pots, and workshops. However, main campsite pieces like building your home must be within a range of a bonfire, and a lot of the workbenches will not work unless you are within the bonfire range, with the exception of the basic workbench. Now, the bonfire will claim land for yourself, similar to games like Soul Mask or Palworld. The range itself is quite large, but as of right now, I do not see a way to expand it. You cannot overlap bonfires either, but you can place multiple. Removing items will fully refund you, and crafting will draw from any chest within your claimed territory. I didn't get to test the farming as I don't think it's implemented yet. I didn't get to use it. Now, the combat is brutal. When you first start off, everything will one-shot you. Even with food eaten and expanding your health even a tiny bit, you might not get one shot, but you'll definitely get 2 shot. In this game, it really involves a mix of skill and gear, as well as talent points. As you level up, you can put points into health and stamina to make combat easier, but you will need to be mindful and still dodge or block attacks to not get destroyed, especially that the enemies can stun lock you easily. It took me about an hour or 2 of figuring out how to use the combat system, but in the end, I was able to at least take on a couple of pirates at a time without really being hit too much. Just watch out for enemies that have special attacks like boars that can charge you or stomp you to the ground. And there's even pirates with muskets that can absolutely one-shot you. I only played with a couple of the different weapons, but I did notice that the different weapons have different speeds and attack powers. For an example, the pistol you start off with does almost no damage, not even the copper one, but when I found a musket, it did a lot more damage, especially if you get headshots. Oh, and remember, you don't need just bullets, you need bullets and black powder for your ammo. As for melee, I stuck to the one-handed swords like sabers, since I liked striking faster rather than harder, but if you could time your slower attacks, the larger weapons like the halberd can absolutely destroy enemies in a few hits. With the enemies and how they fight back, I prefer the speed and stamina approach to blocking or dodging. Also, it seems like gunfire will alert nearby enemies, so use it sparingly if you're trying to pull a few at a time. But out in the world itself, you can find some instance areas like caves and cellars, but the load-in time is so fast you almost don't even notice that it is instance. You can find maps to buried treasure, hidden side quests, all out in the world, and various types of locations with hidden secrets. You will know if you collect something, as the map will let you know how many secrets there are in each area, and will check off the location if it's complete, which is nice. There is a light form of terraforming, as there is a shovel item to allow you to raise or lower or even flatten the landscape, similar to Valheim, as it also does have limits. It's not completely free flow. Now, being this is a demo, we are only limited to 3 islands. We don't get to see much of the map, but we do know that there will be eventually friendly towns to visit, such as Tortuga, as it's mentioned as a city we can go to that will have traders to bargain with. You can even find currency to use there, and even items that are meant specifically to sell to vendors for coin. While you can also find marks of Blackbeard's crew to turn into the various factions for reputation points. None of that is available right now, but seeing the items associated with these systems is a nice little teaser. Ships can be built and upgraded at your base from a couple of different workbenches. Once you are on board, it uses the Black Flag gameplay, where you can cannon fire enemy ships and either sink them or choose to board them for various amount of loot. You can also find resources floating around on the water. Now, the boarding of ships requires that you kill a certain amount of enemies, and at the early levels, it seems that your crew is absolutely useless other than keeping aggro off you. They die very easily to enemies, so they will not really help much. If you happen to die while boarding, your ship will sink and you will have to recover it by repairing it for a lot of resources. It doesn't seem that you lose any cargo though, which is nice. Just what you would have on your person, but you can easily recover it. All enemies in the game, whether they're on land or at sea, will stay the same health as you left them. So if you die, even on a boarding ship, you will not have to rebattle that ship or start all the way from the start with a regular enemy if you're on land. You can simply death run it if you wanted to. As for feedback of the game so far, I wish that when you were playing, the game allowed you to pause it while you were in solo mode. As of right now, even in solo mode, you cannot pause the game, which I think is weird. I also noticed that you cannot rebind the building mode button. I wanted to switch it with the inventory button, as I don't like using tab for inventory, I like using the B button, so I was just going to switch it, but there's nowhere in the keybind logs to switch your building mode. So if you remap your inventory to B, you can no longer access building mode. I did manage to play the game at a decent frame rate for most of the time. Of course, when I turned on OBS, it lowered a little bit, but in terms of when I was not using OBS, I really only dropped to 20 FPS once, and that was during one of the pirate camp areas, but it cleared up afterward. Having friends on your ship doesn't really help at all. It's better that they tag team with their own ship, and I hope one day they'll add like a swivel cannon or something else on the boats for friends to do while sailing with you. But other than that, that's all I have for right now in terms of this demo. For a short little 8-hour session of playing it with my friend, we had a lot of fun and definitely see the potential of this game to be in the future when it releases. If you want to stay tuned for the full review when it does come out, make sure you subscribe to this channel, like this video, and I will see you next time. Florida Gator Man out.